to make this as quick as I can. What you're about to see is Cupp of CNN, and she impales every Republican and every member of Fox News who screams anti-vaccination lies. Let's just call it what they are, lies.
Truly sad, appalling headline. Republicans divided on how hard to push vaccines. I'm Cupp. Welcome to Unfiltered. That headline ran today on the Hill website, accompanying a report outlining the varying degrees to which some rank-and-file Republicans in Congress and in state houses are refusing to help push life-saving vaccines on a reluctant Republican voter base in states where COVID cases are rising. While Senate Minority Leader Mitch McConnell has been saying for months that people should get vaccinated, his Republican colleague Rand Paul, a doctor, has said he won't get the vaccine because he already had COVID. After refusing to get vaccinated for months, House Minority Whip Steve Scalise finally got the jab this weekend. Meanwhile, a Georgia congressman who has twice tested positive for COVID himself says effectively, we just need to live with it like the flu. Ohio Congressman Jim Jordan is fundraising off of fear, promising Democrats want to send out door-to-door vaccine inspectors. Florida Governor Ron DeSantis shrugged off the rise in cases in his state, saying it will soon reverse course. And Georgia Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene was briefly suspended from Twitter for sharing vaccine misinformation. And when asked by a reporter if she'd been vaccinated, she responded by saying that question violated her HIPAA rights. Narrator's voice, no, it didn't. Elsewhere, over on Fox, opinions there have run the gamut. Primetime hosts Tucker Carlson and Laura Ingraham have argued that the vaccines might be dangerous, that they might be ineffective, and that people should refuse them. While others on the network, like Sean Hannity, have recently come around to the idea that it might be, smart to suggest that their viewers go ahead and do something that is inarguably saving lives, maybe even their own. Now that there is a divide in the Republican Party over whether to get vaccinated against COVID and whether to tell millions of Republican voters to consider doing the same is such a sad commentary on the state of Republican politics today. The vaccine is life-saving. The vaccine is safe. The vaccine is effective. And the vaccine is how we're all eventually going to get back to some semblance of normalcy. The longer people refuse, the longer we must wait in this awful state of pandemic limbo. Now, while historically there's been vaccine hesitancy on the left as well, Republicans have increasingly allowed the creep of conspiracy theories and anti-vax arguments to infect the party and party politics to affect health. Back in 1955, Republicans were arguing over how to distribute a much-needed polio vaccine. Former President Dwight Eisenhower wanted a free federal distribution, while Oveta Culp-Hobby, the first Secretary of Health, Education, and Welfare, wanted anyone but the federal government involved, citing, you guessed it, socialized medicine. But more recently, the measles outbreak of 2019, the largest in 25 years, sparked a new anti-vax movement on the right. At the time, less than a year before COVID would hit, many Republicans were opposed to mandating a measles vaccine in schools. Former Kentucky Governor Matt Bevin claimed vaccine mandates were un-American. In Oregon, Republicans said they violated parental rights. All around the country, Republican Party leaders took a, quote, medical freedom position. One Texas legislator called vaccines sorcery. Now, this simultaneous embrace inside the right wing of conspiracy theories and anti-science freedom arguments has manifested in today's insane response to the pandemic. From anti-maskers to anti-vaxxers, the politicization of science and health safety has inarguably cost lives. It's also made us stupider and more susceptible to misinformation. Because when it's cloaked in patriotism or a political ideology, it's that much easier for many to believe. As Dave Gorski, a physician who has studied the anti-vax movement, told Politico before COVID, appeals to freedom are like the gateway drug to pseudoscience. Republicans have created this vicious cycle that keeps repeating. They sow distrust in facts and science to own the libs. And then when the base distrusts science at a time when it needs it most, Republicans are stuck having to double and triple down just to keep their voters happy, if not healthy. Voters they conditioned to demand more and more lies. So eventually telling the truth about science and health becomes an apostasy, treasonous, proof you are a sellout. When conservative pundit Carmine Sabia tweeted his unpopular support for the vaccine to his followers, he messaged me afterwards, feeling defeated. "Tell me how to get this into their heads," he said. "I'm so frustrated. The misinformation is strong." Now, it shouldn't have to be this way. It shouldn't be political. But ultimately, Republicans are doing more to shrink their base than to grow it in more ways than one. It's bad politics, but also it's just plain bad. Okay, that's it for me. See you next week.
Now, I have to applaud some of the Republicans who are trying to put out the right information, the correct information on the COVID-19 vaccine. But that is a very small, very, very, almost minuscule number compared to Republicans, compared to Fox News, compared to the Trumpers who are screaming, literally screaming at the top of their lungs that the vaccines are unsafe, they cause death, blah, 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 all the excuses you can possibly think of. Excuse me. Now, the fact is this. When the vaccines came out, even I was even what's the word I'm for? Reluctant to get the vaccine. I didn't know anything about it. I didn't do any research. I did the research. And after a good number of my immediate family got the vaccine, and all of them are still alive, even today, there are no ill effects other than the fact that their arm where they got the shot was stiff for a day or two. Other than that, they're all alive, all healthy. At least the ones that go to the gym. My dad, who thinks he's still Kobe Bryant. Anyway, they're all healthy. They're all alive. People I've talked to who got the vaccine, all healthy, all alive. And they tell me, and all of them tell me, the only regret they have is they didn't get it sooner. And a lot of them tell me that the reason they didn't get it in the first place is the fact that they listen to the lies. They listen to Fox News. They listen to people like Jim Jordan trying to make money off the fear that a lot of people like you who voted for Trump or voted for Jordan or voted for McCarthy or voted for Rand Paul actually fell for. If you're afraid of the vaccine, if you're concerned about the vaccine, fine. Ask questions about the vaccine. However, ask questions of medical doctors, medical professionals, people who deal in medicine, people who deal in vaccines, not people who just do it for the money or votes or ratings. Fox News, I'm talking about you. Tucker Carlson, I'm talking about you. Sean Hannity, well, I'm still talking about you, although you're trying to be the only good light in Fox News. I'm talking about your ass too. You're part of the problem. COVID is here. We gotta deal with it, just as we deal with measles or the flu. Get vaccinated. You have questions about the vaccine? As I said earlier, ask a doctor. Ask a medical doctor. Ask someone somebody who understands viruses. If that's not enough for you, ask someone who is vaccinated. What side effects have you had? Ask someone who got the shots. Ask them. Don't ask someone. The three people you do not need to ask is one, Fox News, because they're going to lie to you, especially that asshole Tucker Carlson. Two, a Republican whose only job is to make I'm trying not to make this political, but unfortunately the Republicans have. Joe Biden, he's the reason why this misinformation campaign is happening. And that's all they're thinking about. How can I make Joe Biden look bad? Not how I can help the American people, but make this president look bad. For some odd reason. And 3, don't ask someone with the MAGA hat on, because it hasn't occurred to you that the people who are not vaccinated are Donald Trump supporters? Don't ask those people. Ask professionals. Ask people who were vaccinated. I hope you guys get vaccinated, because unfortunately with this Delta variant that's coming out, this country could be where it was this time last year. Still states under lockdown, businesses closed, no one traveling, people dying. And that is the one thing that none of these Republican politicians have even talked about. People are dying. But they don't care about that. All they care about is how can we own the libs. And the people who do speak out and say that let me put it this way, the Republicans who do speak out and say that the vaccine is safe, you know what happens to them. The Republican Party shuns them. The Republican Party says they don't exist. They say, Senator who? Congressman what? That should tell you something. Get vaccinated. Protect yourself, protect your family, protect your coworkers, protect the strangers on the street. You want me to get biblical? Let's get biblical. I'm a firm believer in every disaster that humanity has ever been through. There's an underlying message behind it. It's the message of we're not alone. It's not only about you. And on that scale, a lot of Republicans in this country who profess to believe in Jesus have failed miserably. You failed before, you failed now, and I have firm belief that you'll fail in the future. That's how faithless, that's how little faith I have in Republicans today. You can't even tell people to protect themselves, only because of your obsession with destroying with owning the libs. And that's sad. And more people are going to die because of it. It's just a shame. Please, get vaccinated. CTP, know the truth. God bless. Peace to the left, justice to the right.